Hey everyone, we're the Violet Reality. My name is Casey Rain.
And I am Camilia, and our background is a little bit different than the usual because 1, our posters aren't behind us, and 2, we're on a bench and we're outside. What?
And 3, we're in a completely different continent, which
Yes.
is probably the most important thing. We are sat in Los Angeles right now, in a little park right next to where we're staying, mostly because the room that we're staying in has like no light, so you wouldn't be able to see us very well if we filmed in there. So we thought we'd take a little trip outside, film out here.
Yep.
Of course, as we film this, it's already April 21st in the UK, even though it's not quite April 21st here. It's still April the 20th, but this video will be coming out on the 21st because, as most of you watching this know, that's a very important date. It is the 3rd anniversary of Prince's passing. And because of that, we wanted to talk a little bit about what that feels like for us. And so we thought what would be a good idea would be to just talk about 3 of our favorite Prince memories each. And then what we want you to do is comment below, or on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you see this, and tell us your favorite 3 Prince memories to mark the 3-year anniversary of his passing. So I'm just gonna get into it. I haven't actually thought about this in advance at all.
So yeah, before you do that though, I want to say something. I feel like with this video, and especially with your comments, we are going to have a lot of different perspectives, which I'm gonna like a lot, because you obviously have the younger generation, that's my generation, that grew up in like the earlier or later on 2000s, which will have totally different memories of Prince, of like people that grew up in the 70s or the 80s or maybe even the 60s, you know. So Casey, if you want to tell us your 3 most favorite Prince memories, or anything that springs to mind, and I know that these change quite a bit over time, but yeah, tell us.
It's difficult because it's like the same thing as picking your favorite songs. It's never going to be the same. I have so many amazing memories of Prince, but I'm going to pick a few. So one of them certainly was, I've written extensively about this, was attending the 3121 listening party in London. So 6 weeks before the album came out, only a few songs had been heard, like the promotional singles. Most of the album was completely unheard at that point and wouldn't be heard for a while. There was no leaks of the album before it came out or anything like that, as there probably would be in this day and age. Myself and Bobby Friction from Radio 1, he's a DJ at BBC Radio in the UK, went to the London listening party hosted by Universal Records for 3121. It was very lavish. There were engraved symbols in sort of the glass around this very fancy bar that was all lit up purple with like chiffon and like fancy sofas and all this stuff, and the kind of who's who of UK music journalists were all there, and probably none of whom expected they would be beaten to the punch by me, because I immediately went home afterwards and wrote up a review on Prince.org, which ended up being the world's first review of the record. Funny thing was, they didn't give us any of the track titles, so apart from the songs that we knew and a few where it was like really obvious, like Lolita was pretty obvious that it was called Lolita, we had to like figure out what the song titles were. Some of them were not obvious at all, and in fact I can probably find the original link to that review at some point. I can probably put it in the description. But I just remember the atmosphere there, because what you have to remember is that Musicology, which came before that, was obviously a very sort of organic record and was Prince's big sort of mainstream comeback. So probably a lot of the press in that room, and probably everyone in that room, even including us, were not expecting 3121 to sound the way it does. We were not expecting the kind of really awesome like electronic production on tracks like Love and things like that. So we were really blown away. Like, I remember just looking around the room and people were blown away by tracks like Lolita and Love and The Dance and things like that. It was just a really, really cool moment in time. The whole era, I think, was really, really awesome. But I'm going to stop because I could talk about 3121 for a long time. I'm going to move on to the next memory. Second best memory, I think, has to be when I met Prince, which is all tied together with 21 Nights.
One moment, Casey.
Yeah. Yes.
Second best memory is when you met him. First best memory is when you went to the listening party and you didn't actually meet him. Shouldn't that be swapped around?
It's not in order. It's just 3 memories. It's
okay,
not.
Okay. So we're not favoriting.
Yeah, we're not doing like 3, 2, 1. So it's just 3 memories that are all equally awesome. So yeah, 21 Nights in London. I can't remember how many of the shows I'd been to before the night where I met him. It was either 2 or 3. It was either my second of the shows that I saw or the third. And there was an after party at the Indigo, and as anyone that was there and went to a few of the after parties knows, he wasn't guaranteed to like show up at the after parties. He wasn't guaranteed to play. You just had to take your chances, and maybe sometimes you'd see some live music, maybe other nights you wouldn't see live music and it would just be a DJ, and even if you did see live music, you wouldn't necessarily see Prince. But on this particular night, he came back out with the NPG and played another 2+ hour set after the main show that was full of just like jams and not hits. Basically the main shows were all pretty much hits. They did have a few obscure things in the main shows as well, and he always switched up the sets and stuff, but the after shows where he performed were really jam heavy. And so after that after show, I've talked about this a few times, so I'm not going to tell the entire story again. I'm sure anybody who's been subscribed to us for a while has probably heard the story before. But after that after show where he played, I happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I met him and we spoke for a couple of minutes, and it was just a phenomenal experience. The biggest thing that I remember is just his aura. He had a very powerful aura, like a bright light, like being on you. And he just seemed so happy. So definitely that one. And the third one, I would say, it's hard to pick because I also have very strong memories of seeing him in Las Vegas and at other shows and Hop Farm and all these different times. But I don't want them all to be like live show. I wanted to pick 3 very different ones. The third one, his last birthday that he was alive for, the one tweet that he made that day, even though he rarely acknowledged his birthdays, was a tweet to a double-page spread in a British newspaper called Eastern Eye that I had written in honor of his birthday. He tweeted that out that day, just a link to my article. So that was just phenomenal. So yeah, those are 3 of my most favorite Prince memories that I hold to heart. Kim's going to tell you hers. And while you're watching this, hopefully a little part of your brain is thinking about yours, and you're going to drop yours in the comments as well. So, Kim, what are your 3 favorite Prince memories?
So my 3 favorite Prince memories, I have a lot of them, and well, it's pretty difficult to pick. I think mine are going to be completely different from Casey's because I never really had the opportunities to do all of this amazing stuff that he did because I simply am not old enough. So I feel like people that are around my age, maybe even a little bit younger than that, so from like 15, 16, maybe even 14 to about in their early 20s, they will probably know what I'm feeling like at the moment. But I did have, the honor of being able to see that Prince made a Twitter account and an Instagram account. So I guess that would be my first favorite memory here. Just, waking up every night, all of those notifications of Prince having gone on a tweeting spree and just reading those. And he was just hilarious on Twitter and always
tweet and delete.
Yeah. and always having conversations with all of us and just tweeting back to us, and then we would he thought we weren't super savvy, so he would delete everything, but us as the tech savvy people that we are, we would just take screenshots of it and then later on just post it to have this momentum. And the other thing I really loved about that as well is that when you put out Hit and Run Phase 1, we had different opinions on that. So part of the fan base didn't really dig it all that much, and the other part of the fan base really loved that. I don't know if you remember that, but that was sort of the Twitter vibe that we were getting. So then not too long after that, we got Hit and Run Phase 2. So I really like that. So I guess that's my first favorite memory, that Prince made a Twitter account. My second favorite Prince memory is a little bit more personal to me, and it still happens to me this day and age, mostly when I'm in Holland. So every time I would feel quite bad, I would usually go up to my room and then just randomly turn on the radio, and a whole bunch of times when I did that, when it was around dinner time or a little bit later, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World came on the radio, and that happened to me quite often. So I don't know if there's a lot of spiritual Prince fans out there. If you are, drop it in the comments below, or if you've had things like this happen to you. it still happens to us as well. We're like
all the time.
Where like a Prince song comes on when we've done something like Prince related, or we've like spoken to someone for interviews, and then when we're on the drive back, then a Prince song just randomly comes on in like the cab or a car that we're in, and it's just really, really nice because it makes you feel like he's still there, and even when he was still alive, it made me feel like he was there, and it always instantly made me feel better. So I really, really cherish that. So that's a really good memory that I have of him as well. Well, more so his music. It's not necessarily something that's like directly him, even though other people that are a bit more spiritual would say that it is, but it's more like a music memory, and I feel like that is something that has really brought us all together because his music speaks to us, and that's why we became such big, like, I don't really want to say fans, I guess I want to say like big lovers of Prince, because, you know, we all love his music and we think he's like the best thing ever, which he was. I can't really say was, I want to say is, because it's so hard for me to talk about him in the past tense even after 3 years. Can you believe it's been 3 years? It's crazy. Yeah, so that's my second favorite memory. So I guess my third favorite memory of Prince is like a Prince related memory, because this was after he had already passed away, and ever since I was a really younger, I always had kind of like dreamt of either way, you know, visiting Paisley Park for him doing a show, which I unfortunately never got to do because I wasn't old enough to get to Paisley before Prince passed away in 2016, so that never really happened. But I did get to go to Paisley then in 2018, so just last year, and I went to Celebration, and it was so surreal to just be there and like be in that amazing building where he like created so much of his work, and he had like whole teams of like fashion designers and musicians and engineers and everybody just working for him, and it was just like so like bright, and there was so much life in that building at one point, and I always wanted to see what that was like, and I feel like that really put things in perspective for me as well, because that made him passing away a lot more like real to me. So like I couldn't believe it, and I feel like a lot of people still cannot believe it till this day that he's not with us anymore. But then I went to Paisley, and that like hit me really, really hard, so I'm still kind of like, but it was a beautiful experience as well, and I don't think I'll ever forget that very first time I set foot in Paisley. And then you see a little bit, you see like there's like a quote on the wall, like when you come in and then you like stand back a bit, there's like a quote on the wall that's from You Make My Sunshine, and it's just really beautiful to read that in that sort of context, just standing there, and it was just amazing. And I cannot describe that to you really well unless you've actually been there yourself. So yeah, that was childhood dream come true basically. So that's my 3 favorite memories for now, but they always change though. That's the thing, there's so much stuff that like Prince has brought us and that we've learned from Prince as well, that I think these will most likely be different next year, or like next week or tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
So we'd love for you to tell us your 3 favorite Prince memories in the comments below, and maybe if we find the time for it, we'll do a live stream at some point somewhere where we read all of them out, and then we could just all come together and just have a nice and loving chat about him and how amazing he was and how much of an impact he's had on our lives.
I think one thing that I always love when I'm hearing about various people's favorite Prince memories is that like they're always so or they're regularly so personal, like a specific song or a specific album or seeing a specific show helped this person with whatever was tough things they were going through at that time in their life and things like that. There's just so many stories like that of him really healing people and helping people. And I think that's really what music does. It's the most powerful healing energy in the universe, and that's why we all come together when we have that shared connection to that energy, and that will never go away because it's always there. So that's really his most powerful legacy. It can be found in everybody's memories and future memories as well. So Definitely. Those things don't just stop just because the physical person is not here anymore. So that's what I believe anyway. So we want to hear your 3 favorite Prince memories to mark 3 years of his passing. Drop those in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, The Violet Reality. Make sure you hit the little bell so you'll get notified when new videos come out, and we'll see you in the next one. My name's Casey Rain.
My name is Camilia, and I just want to end this video with saying we love you, Prince, and thank you so much for all that you have done for us.
Hi, I'm Elisa Fiorillo, and you're watching The Violet Reality on YouTube. All things Prince.